We remount, if you will, the rest of the dynamic range to fit back into that of a computer monitor.
And you can see that as you go down, so like behind this building, as you see that it's pretty dark, right? But then as you zoom in and you cover up, the sky, which is very bright, you start to see more detail that's in the previous dark area, like when your eyes adapt, to the brightness of the scene. But then as you go up and you expose more of the sun, you'll see that it also, it adjusts to allow you to see the sky, which, relative to the back of the building is very bright. Yeah.
Did you show us what global illumination and HDR turned off would look like?
Yeah, definitely. So sort of rendering this with what it looks like using OpenGL ES3.
So this looks like a computer graphics game today?
Yeah, I mean...
Right?
Yeah.
Not with this many geometry. I mean, this is still rich with polygons, but without global illumination, without high dynamic range, this is what your games would look like. And let's turn it back on. It's almost unbearable to watch. Okay, so that's special effects, but the world is not always so peaceful, right? I mean, you know what? S could happen, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no. So we have a pretty cool bullet time effect here, where you can sort of pan around and see all the volumetric, explosions, particles, debris. We're using compute shaders to compute, the movement of things and the particle effects that happen.
So what's happening here is that Lucas is using the Tegra K1's 192 parallel cores to do physics processing. This is the same physics processing that supercomputers use for fluid dynamics, for nanomolecular dynamics, for particle simulations, for astrophysics. It's exactly the same architecture, exactly the same type of program. Now it's running on 192 cores on the Tegra K1. Illumination, where everything in the scene is a light source. Everything in the scene is a light source, and it helps create the subtle mood that you see in these dark environments. Notice the volumetric fog that's starting to roll in. And just the texture quality is just so incredible. But, this looks like a photograph. Andrew, why don't you take us around here?
Sure thing, Jensen.
Why don't you take us around and talk us about some of this?
Okay, so this, you mentioned before Unreal 4. This is Unreal 4 running on Tegra K1. So this is a demo.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Unreal Engine 4 running on Tegra K1.
Yeah, so this is a wonderful demo that Epic put together to show off some of the features of their engine. As you mentioned, the art quality is second to none. The textures are amazing, and also lots of little effects. As we go around, I'll point some of them out.
Look at the water dripping off the wall.
Yeah, up here.
The lens flare. You look at the sun, high dynamic range. Look how bright the brights are and how dark the darks are. Okay, imagine a camera doing this. Really hard time with a camera doing this. Now it's computer graphics doing this.
So as you mentioned before, this is trying to simulate exactly what your eye sees. And indeed, they have a feature called pupil adaptation, where they calculate the luminance in the scene. And just like you would if you went from a bright environment into a dark environment, if you were outside and ran into a room, your pupil takes a little while to sort of adapt to that. They build that into this engine as well. It gives wonderful effects.
Now, if that couch doesn't look soft, it almost looks like you could sit on it. I can almost imagine finding some quarters underneath it. Look how beautiful that is. The lighting of it is just incredibly exquisite. And then we're going to show you the second technology is global illumination. If you look at all the lighting around, everything is a light source. So light is bouncing around the environment, and as a result, it's casting more than one shadow, and you're seeing soft shadows everywhere. And look at that wood floor. Wow. Does that look like which floor? Unreal Engine 4 running on Tegra K1. That's fantastic. Good job.